My name is Lester Leavitt, and welcome to the Driftless Rivers Coalition podcast channel. This podcast is going to be dedicated to helping you understand the Overton Window. In the past, we've talked about Sacco and Vanzetti trial and the monkey trials and how those culture war issues were the dominant conversation or governing narrative during a period of time when the farm failures multiplied by 6. And so it was kind of a way of using a weapon of mass distraction. So we're here again. So now you have to understand the Overton window before we can talk about how those governing narratives are shut down by the culture wars. Two parties are often at odds with each other and they can't come to an agreement on much. And when they do come together on an agreement, it's called a bipartisanship. So when we talk in the Driftless Rivers Coalition about putting people over partisanship, what we're trying to get you to do is to arm you against those weapons of mass distraction, which are the culture war issues, which we really don't need to be having a battle over. When you understand the Overton window, if you look at the very top of the Overton window and the very bottom of the Overton window, the researcher, Mr. Overton himself, was talking about things that are in certain terms we could think of it as more free or less free. So, or change is good, change is bad. Let's try something new, or let's keep everything exactly the same. And so when you're talking about those polar ends of the Overton window, if it is totally unacceptable or unthinkable or radical on either end of that spectrum, the top or the bottom, then what you've got is a very, very small Overton window in the middle. The policy making window, the actual policy that you can get out of that bipartisanship agreement is very, very narrow because everybody is at each other's throats over the culture war issues. So if you don't want to do anything in government, what you have to do is you have to keep everybody fighting about non-productive things and have the other side, whoever they are, think in terms of that's radical, that's unthinkable, we can't do that. And as long as you're doing that, nothing gets done. So what the Driftless Rivers Coalition is trying to do when we talk about governing narratives is we're trying to think about things that are acceptable and sensible and popular. And then right in that very middle, that sweet spot in the middle is when you actually get policy. So what do we need in the driftless area? What do we need in the rural areas of America? Everybody calls it the flyover area because all you want to do is you fly from one coast to fly to the other coast. So this flyover area in the Midwest um, is seen as a little bit backwards because people in the rural areas of America typically don't want a lot of things to change. They've got this farming mentality, which is a wonderful, amazing thing. They've got this outdoor lifestyle. They've got a simpler life without 9-lane freeways going through their area where they live. So that idea, that conservative mentality that is keeping the Midwest such a wonderful place to live and raise families is also simultaneously keeping it as a place that progressive and open and more woke people, if we want to use that bad word, would choose not to live. That is not good economic policy. If you're talking about conservation and preservation and revitalization, all of those things take money. Before you have money to do wonderful things, you need to have good government that people trust to do those things. So when you're talking about the culture wars and you're talking about government making things a little too different, then all of a sudden you become and you fall prey to that idea that change is bad. And so that closes the Overton window and we can't get the policy we want.